everybody. This is me again. Today is Friday. I want to talk about. I'm combining my weekend edition review. That is the weekend of the previous weekend and the weekend before. I'll come to the weekend of 17th. I'm going to start with the weekend intelligence brief on date Sunday, 10th to 11th May, and then I'll proceed to the following one. Then I'll be up to date until this weekend comes out. So I want to finish reviewing those two. Then I'll be up to date with regards to the weekend edition of Issues of the Day, Weekend Intelligence Brief. So welcome to Issues of the Day podcast. I am Frederick Kwakliaka of Frederick Cybersecurity. This is the Weekend Intelligence Brief Review. That weekend of the 10th to 11th of May, the culmination of the business intelligence I publish every weekday comes on the weekend edition. So that was, let's take a walk down memory lane or go back in time, do some time travel. And we are now on Saturday, the 10th of May, 2026. The week ending the 9th of May delivered 5 stories that every business leader running an organization between 50 and 200 employees needs to understand before Monday morning. I am going to take you through each one, what it means in business terms and what it required you to do at that particular moment in time. The first story was PCP Jack, credential theft inside your cloud environment. A modular credential theft framework called PC Jack emerged in threat intelligence. That was the week of 9th May. And I want to describe what makes it different from the tools your existing security stack was built to detect. PCP Jack does not force its way into environments. It does not generate the kind of authentication noise that triggers alerts. It moves through cloud environments using legitimate access patterns, the same patterns that your automated processes, your scheduled jobs, and your backup routines generate every day. It is indistinguishable from normal operational traffic. What it steals is not passwords in the traditional sense. It targets session tokens, API keys, and cloud service account credentials. These are the artifacts that modern enterprise systems use to trust automated processes. When PCP Jack obtains a cloud service account credential, it does not look like an attacker inside your environment. It looks like a scheduled process. It looks like an integration running as designed. The business question this raises is a governance question, not a technology question. Do you know which service accounts exists in your cloud environment? Do you know what each of them is permitted to access? And do you have a process, a documented recurring process for reviewing whether what those accounts are doing matches the purpose they were created for? The answer to any of these questions is no. PCP Jack is designed for your environment. The action on the week ending 9th May is an audit. Pull every service account in your cloud environment. For each one, confirm it is still in active use. Confirm its permissions are proportionate to its purpose, and revoke anything that cannot be fully accounted for. The second story, Cushman and Wakefield, the third-party integration breach. Cushman and Wakefield, one of the largest commercial real estate firms in the world, confirmed a data breach attributed to shiny hunters that week. The entry point was not a vulnerability in their core systems. It was a third-party integration, a connector built to allow internal systems to exchange data with their Salesforce platform. That had a misconfiguration allowing access without valid credentials. I want to draw your attention to the pattern here. because this is the second time in recent months that a major organization has been breached through a third-party CRM integration rather than through their primary infrastructure. For every medium enterprise using Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, HubSpot, or any CRM platform with external connectors, the attack surface is not the platform itself, it is every application. Every API key and every integration that has ever been granted access to that platform. Every one of those connectors is a door. Most organizations do not know how many doors they have, and fewer still know whether all of them are locked. The action is a connector audit. Produce a complete list of every application and integration that has been granted access to your CRM. For each one, confirm it is still in use, confirm that its level of access reflects only what it genuinely requires, and revoke access for anything that is no longer active, no longer needed, or cannot be identified. That audit is one of the highest return security actions a medium enterprise can take. And in most organizations, it has never been done. The third story, Meditronic and Itron, critical infrastructure under attack. Two major industrial firms reported and confirmed intrusions for that week. Medtronic, the global medical device manufacturer, whose products are present in hospitals and clinical environments worldwide, and Itron, an energy infrastructure technology company whose systems are embedded in utility networks across multiple countries. Two separate organizations in two separate sectors in the same week. For medium enterprise leaders, the direct implication is not whether your organization is a direct target of the same actors. It is vendor and supply chain risk. If any of your technology suppliers, integration partners, or service providers have suffered an intrusion, the connection that supplier has into your environment becomes a potential pathway. The action is a mapping exercise. Identify your critical third-party connections, the suppliers and partners who have active access into your systems, your data, or your network. For each one, confirm what access they have, whether that access is currently necessary, and what you do if that partner notified you of a compromise tomorrow. That last question, what would you do, is the one most organizations cannot answer. The week is the prompt to change that. The fourth story, cPanel, the hosting vulnerability your provider needs to patch. cPanel, the web hosting control panel used across a significant proportion of small and medium enterprise hosting environments, disclosed the critical authentication vulnerability that week of week ending 10th May 2026. The flow allows unauthenticated remote access to any cPanel installation running an unpatched version, no credentials required. If your business uses managed hosting, a web agency that runs cPanel infrastructure, or a hosting provider whose environment depends on cPanel, the action is to contact that provider today and confirm the patch has been applied. Do not assume it has been. Ask directly and get written confirmation. If you manage your own hosting environment, this is an emergency. Update that should have been applied the moment the disclosure was published. The fifth story, Canvas, 275 million records. The week closed with the confirmation that Canvas, the instructor learning management platform used by universities and education institutions globally, had suffered a breach in which a threat actor claimed records belonging to approximately 275 million students. At the time of this edition, the full scope is still being assessed. I will return to this story next weekend, which is coming up, the 18th of May. We'll go forward in time. It developed significantly in the days that followed. For this week, the week of the ending 9th, 9th and 10th May, which was the Sun week, the Saturday. For that week, the business intelligence point is this: breaches of this scale at platforms serving hundreds of millions of people demonstrate something medium enterprise leaders need to internalize. The data about your employees, your clients, and your partners that is held by third-party platforms is part of your risk exposure. Whether or not you control how that data is protected, your data risk does not begin and end at your own perimeter. So the theme for that week, 5 stories, 1 thread. In every case, the week of ending 9th, the 10th May, in each case that week, the breach or the vulnerability or the exposure existed because something was granted access and never reviewed again. A service account created and forgotten, a connector built and left open, a patch delayed, a third-party platform trusted without verification. Access control is not a technology problem. The technology to enforce it exists in every environment I have described today. The gap is organizational. If it is the habit or the absence of the habit of reviewing, auditing, and revoking access that was once granted and never revisited, that is the business discipline that week was asking you to build. The full written edition of Issues of the Day for that weekend is available on LinkedIn. The Daily Business Intelligence Brief publishes every weekday at 9 GMT, Monday to Friday. Subscribe on LinkedIn, share this with your leadership team. That is the end of that chapter. Now we go to Issues of the Day, Weekend Intelligence Brief, podcast, Saturday, Sunday, 16th to 17th May, the weekend that has just ended. We are going into a new weekend and there will be other things are happening. So my edition, I follow up everything. Monday to Friday, I have a daily intelligence brief. Wednesday and Friday, I have the AI breach report. I'm monitoring what's going on in the AI sphere. Weekend, I follow the business intelligence because the dark actors or bad things never cease to happen. So I have to follow and point them out to companies that have fallen asleep. That's what I'm doing every day. So now let us go to Saturday, Sunday, 16th, 17th May. I'm Frederick Wakuliaka of Frederick Cybersecurity. Those who have subscribed to my YouTube channel at Frederick Wakuliaka 4561 or to follow me on LinkedIn, you're familiar with what I do and what I put out every day. If not, then you better wake up and jump onto the bandwagon, because there will come a time when none of my intelligence is going to be free. So you better start learning and adapting while it is still free. So last weekend, I told you that the theme of the week was access controls that were created and never reviewed. This weekend, the weekend that has passed, the theme is different and in some ways more urgent. This week, the question is not the controls existed, it is whether your organization can respond at the speed the threat environment now demands. I'll explain what I mean through the 5 most significant intelligence stories of the week that ended and preceded the weekend of 16th, 17th May, 2026. Last weekend, I covered the initial canvas breach, the weekend which was of the 10th May. 9th, then the Friday was 9th, 10th May was the Saturday. So that issue of the Issues of the Day Weekend Intelligence Brief covered. I covered the initial canvas breach, 275 million student records. Threat actor with samples, the full scope still being assessed. This week, Instructure confirmed it paid the ransom. I want to be direct about what that means beyond the specific organization involved. When a company pays a ransom, it validates the economics of the campaign for every other threat actor watching. It confirms that the disruption was severe enough or the data sensitive enough that the payment was the preferred outcome. It does not destroy the data. It does not guarantee the data will not be used, sold, or exploited in a future campaign. It ends one phase of the incident. It does not end the incident or the recurrence of this incident. So the business intelligence for medium enterprise leaders is about incident response planning, not about whether you would pay. So about whether you have a documented decision framework for a ransomware event before one happens. That framework needs to include who makes the decision, who provides legal counsel, what law enforcement notifications are required, what your cyber insurance policy covers and what it requires, what your communications to clients and regulators look like, and critically, how you continue to operate while your systems are compromised. If that framework does not exist in your organization today, this was the week to build it. The canvas story is what happens when the incident arrives before the framework does. The second story, Cisco SD1, maximum severity, active exploitation, government deadline. The United States Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency added a Cisco SD1 authentication bypass to its mandatory remediation catalog that week, the last week. The severity rating is 10.0, the maximum possible. The remediation deadline was meant to be Saturday, the 17th of May. A severity rating of 10.0 means a remote attacker with no credentials can take complete control of affected Cisco SD1 infrastructure. No password required, no user interaction required, network access is sufficient. SD1 is the technology that connects your offices, your remote workers, and your cloud infrastructure into a single managed network. It is not a peripheral system, it is the backbone. If your organization uses Cisco SD1 and this patch has not been confirmed as applied, the network perimeter you rely on to protect your operations is currently open, even now. If you are hearing this on a Sunday morning and you have not confirmed the patch status, do not wait until Monday or Friday. Confirm it Friday, that is today. The third story, Microsoft Exchange, the attack that requires nothing from your staff. Microsoft Exchange server had a spoofing vulnerability disclosed and confirmed under active exploitation last week, ending 17th May 2026. The attack mechanism requires nothing from your employees except opening their inbox in a web browser. The business significance of unexploited spoofing vulnerability in Exchange is impersonation at the infrastructure level. Emails that appear to have come from finance, from your chief executive, from IT support, displaying the correct address, formatted correctly, passing standard email checks can carry this exploit. The social engineering layer requires no sophistication because the trust signal is genuine. The email address looks right because the exploit makes it look right. For organizations in financial services and professional services where payment instructions, contract approvals, and client communications pass through email every day, a convincing spoofing capability at this level is a direct financial and reputational risk. The patch was included in Microsoft's May Patch Tuesday release. If your Exchange environment has not been updated to the May release, that update needs to happen last weekend or this weekend, but make it happen. That's why I'm reviewing, so you can get those who do not manage to read, they can start to take action. I'm giving you another opportunity by reviewing to remind you or to tell you what you have overlooked or have not bothered to read, or now you have the chance. If you have not seen, I'm trying to shout in your ear so you can hear. At least somehow the message may get through. I give you a first chance, and now this is the second and maybe the last. So the fourth story, West Pharmaceutical Services, the manufacturing flow shutdown. West Pharmaceutical Services, a global manufacturer of drug delivery systems used in vaccine production and pharmaceutical packaging, was hit by ransomware this week. Employees at production facilities reported watching their workstations taken over in real time. Files encrypting on screen, systems shutting down across the manufacturing floor while people were standing at them. I want to hold on that detail. This is not the scenario where a security team discovers an intrusion in a log file 3 days after it happened. This is a live, visible operational shutdown. People at their workstations watching the business stop, literally stop, come to an end, halt. For medium enterprise leaders with any operational component, manufacturing, logistics, clinical services, physical infrastructure, this is the scenario your business continuity planning needs to account for. Not the data theft scenario alone, the operational shutdown scenario. The scenario in which your staff cannot do their jobs, your clients cannot receive your service, and the immediate question is not what data was taken, but whether the business can continue to function at all. If your business continuity plan does not include a documented operational shutdown scenario with clear steps for who takes what action in what sequence in the first hour and the first 24 hours, the West Pharmaceutical story is the reason to write it. The fifth story, the AI defender. On the 11th of May, OpenAI announced Daybreak, a dedicated initiative applying artificial intelligence to vulnerability discovery, threat analysis, and automated defense at enterprise scale. This follows the confirmation earlier in the week that Microsoft's AI scanning harness found 16 Windows vulnerabilities, including 4 critical remote code execution flaws, before any external attacker could find and exploit them. 2 of the most significant technology companies in the world in the same week confirming that AI is now operating as a frontline vulnerability discovery engine on the defensive side. The business intelligence implication is forward-looking. The speed at which vulnerabilities are being found and the speed at which attackers scan for them after disclosure means the window between a patch becoming available and an active exploitation beginning is now measured in hours. This week, the Cisco SD-WAN attack was confirmed active before the advisory had been widely circulated. Trace and AI framework vulnerability I covered in the AI breach report for last week was targeted within 4 hours of disclosure. For medium enterprise leaders, this is not a call to implement AI security tools. It is a call to review your patch management process and answer one question honestly. When a critical patch is released on a Tuesday, how long does it take your organization to apply it? If the answer is longer than 48 hours, the gap between the patch and your application of it is the window in which you are exposed. That window needs to close. So the theme for that week, last week it was access controls never reviewed. The week before, which I have already covered. Now, this week it is response velocity. Every story this week had an action attached to it. Every one of those actions had an urgency window. The Cisco deadline was today. The exchange patch should be applied this weekend, or if now when I'm telling you, reminding you. The incident response framework is a Monday priority. The operational shutdown scenario is a planning task that belongs on next week's agenda, or was meant to be on next week's agenda, and it is still next week's agenda for those who ignored the weekend intelligence briefing for last weekend. I'm reminding you. The organizations that are in next week's edition are the ones that closed their gaps before this week's attackers found them. So tomorrow I'll reveal who those are. When I release the weekend edition, and I'll review, you will know. Those who bother to listen or to read. I give you two chances. I give you the document to read, then I tell it to you. I give you a video so you can get another chance for those who didn't read. After that, I don't know what else can be done. Even I think prayers will not help. So the full written edition of the Issues of the Day is on LinkedIn now. It will be, the latest issue will be out tomorrow for those who subscribe to and for those who follow my daily intelligence brief, which comes out every day, Monday to Friday, published every weekday, supposed to be 9 GMT, British time. For the intelligence your business needs throughout the week, I'm supplying intelligence your business needs, even on the weekend, for those who bother to follow. So my name is Frederick Wakliaka. This is Frederick Cybersecurity.